Welcome, everybody, to Next Gen Leadership Live, brought to you by Momentum Builder. I'm your host, Jimmy Ryan, and today we're talking about one day or day one with Gino Fronte. What's up, brother?
What's up, my man? I've noticed a couple of people recently talking about this particular subject, and I thought we could dive into it for a little bit and really, how do we make it so that it's not just a token thing that people say? How do you actually take actions and make it day one? One day is great. Yeah, I believe there's a place for one day. You must have dreams, right? But if you don't have day one, you'll never get to one day. It's like the first step, right? You got to take that step, and it's different for everybody. What catalyst will propel you into taking that step? So I can't tell anybody when or how to take that step, but I can give some examples of how to take that step and how to measure progress to make sure that you know that you are going to reach the one day goal.
So I'm really good at day ones, if I'm honest. Personally speaking,
I tend to. That's a problem. Day 22.
It really is. It really is. It's the follow through of post day ones. So
okay,
I mean,
so let's address that too. Day one every day is no good either.
That's exactly, and I tend to do that. I tend to start lots of things, and I tend to lack follow through. And I think there's a pro and con to that. I mean, in a lot of ways, I'm not afraid to start something. I'm not afraid to fail, but also, you're not going to win if you don't have the follow through. Like, it's a long game. It just is.
So I'll give you a perfect example. Let's use my Cabo property, okay, as an example. This was an idea that was born on my 40th birthday. I'm 46 years old right now.
Okay.
This was a one-day idea. On my wife's 40th birthday, which made it about my 43rd birthday, it still was a one-day idea. So 3 years went by and it sat in the one-day box.
Mm-hmm.
It doesn't mean I wasn't going to get it done. So finally, all the stars aligned and I started moving chess pieces and decided I'm going to do this. It's not just going to be a dream of mine. We're going to do this. It's going to be a business. And here's how we're going to approach it. In fact, the irony is the reason I felt emboldened enough to do it is my real estate agent introduced me to a partnership. And she said, these partners can help you get off the ground so that you don't have to fear what you're fearing right now. So someone took away the fear, right? The fear of failure is real. And the fear of I wasn't ready was real. I didn't have the right infrastructure was real. And I didn't know what I was doing in Mexico was also real. So I employed an attorney that I was referred to because I joined a group of investors. And then I met the realtor, and then the realtor partnered me with someone who could do the construction. So because I had the pieces put together, I felt bold enough to continue.
And see, that could be very costly, the failure of that. You don't want to build a half-built bridge. They're expensive, and they ultimately get you nowhere.
Yeah, ultimately, look, there's been a lot of road bumps. I mean, a lot of speed bumps in this mission and a lot of learning. But remember, failure is learning. It's okay to fail. You just got to keep going and keep going and keep going. And right now, it seems like it's going to have a happy ending. It's 6 years in the making, and I am flying there in 48 hours to choose plates, towels, toothbrush holders, and shampoo holders. That's where we're at. We're T minus 45 days from a one day conversation with a lot of alcohol involved, becoming an actual reality. And that's what successful people do. They have ideas, and if they become super passionate about them, they don't care what gets in the way. I can't be stopped because this is important to me. So 100%. I think that's important. Is let's hone in on that. Like, is this important to you or not? Because I think when you give up on those things and you have the day one and you don't have day two and you don't have day six and you don't have day, look, I'm on 6 years. That's my point.
Right. So, well, let's parlay this into mortgage, because a lot of people want to say, hey, there's the beginner stage of I'm going to do 10 million. Okay, like that's a goal. Like, hey, one day I'm going to do that. That's a little bit of a different thing. It's more of habit setting, not a goal setting type of a task. But to go to that next level, it's I need to hire somebody. I need to hire an LOA. I need to hire a team. I need to hire a processor. I need to hire whatever it is. I think that that's also a one day thing where what you're talking about is it could be very costly to you if you fail at this. And there's a big fear of doing it the wrong way. Buying a house in Mexico, investment or not, that's a big risk. You don't know what the heck the laws are there. But the same thing with hiring a loan officer assistant. Now, Gino, you have a big team and you've hired probably hundreds of people in the past few years or decade. But some
In the
people
last
haven't hired
decade, I
one.
probably had over 200 employees.
So, but some people haven't had one. So, you know what I mean, though. But like here, you put yourself in somebody's shoes where they've not done it one time. That's a major fear. So, is it one day or is it day one? What would you say is day one for somebody that wants to grow their team, wants to take it to that next level?
Well, first of all, you have to ask yourself, why? Why do I want that person? What does that mean to me? What does having this person mean to me? Does it mean more money? And what does that money mean to me? Does it mean better quality of life? Maybe you're just tired. Maybe you've been grinding by yourself and you need someone by your side to grind with you. Maybe you need moral support. Maybe you're not good at income calculations and you need somebody next to you that's good at income calculations. Maybe you're the best hunter, but you're terrible at manufacturing and you need somebody that's good at manufacturing next to you. So in order to make those decisions, you have to identify your weaknesses and understand, why am I trying to complement my business with adding a first employee? And then becomes the really hard part, which is finding the right person. And so I would say don't rush into that. You know, they say hire slow and fire fast. That couldn't be more true,
Yeah,
particularly on your first employee. Look, at any given time, I have 60 plus. If I make a mistake, that's 1/60th of the workforce. It's not a problem. We could fix the mistake, right? If I choose the wrong person. But if it's your first one, you better make damn sure that it's a good one.
and I think too, another good advice for this is just to like understand the reality and the facts of the matter. Your first one probably isn't going to be there forever, and also,
No.
and you're also going to go through it, and you're going to learn and grow as a leader along the way. But I think you have to rip the band-aid off at some point. You have to do it,
Yeah, and
otherwise you
so
can't
look,
advance.
there's easy ways. Look, I think what I recommend to my team is shared assistant first.
Yeah,
And that's for two reasons. One of them is because I also want that particular assistant to have experience with two different loan officers that do things two different ways, and then find best practices and commonality between them to create the best workflow for both of the people they're assisting. And that helps both of these teams or both of these LOs improve their skills, because they say, hey, did you know Mike does it this way? No. Is it good? Yeah, it seems to work better than the way you do it. Okay, well, then now Joe picked up Mike's best practice, and then vice versa. The next time the other way goes around, and both level up with shared assistance. So I would say day one, lots of fear, right? Lots of fear. So get a shared assistant. Financially, it's less expensive. If you want help from your corporate team, it's also more viable that your corporate team, like someone like myself, would say, yeah, listen, you don't quite warrant your own yet, and I'm not quite sure you would leverage it even if you had it. So let's get a shared assistant, and I'll help you three that need the assistance. And
right.
so I'll take care of the base, you guys take care of the bonuses, and we're in business together. So that's the other thing too, is your support system. Your leadership support system should be able to support you in whatever growth you want, if you have the right trajectory and you show that you're doing the activities and you show that you're disciplined and you have a business plan. If someone came to me with a business plan, a really nice business plan for 2025, and said, I can only do this if I had this person to do these 12 tasks. Can you help me find a person to do those 12 tasks? The answer is absolutely.
Hmm.
Somebody in our organization will help you, or we will hire someone to help you. The problem we have is when someone says, we suck. At what?
Right.
At what? Because the other person doesn't think we suck, and this person doesn't think we suck. And it's kind of like, so a lot of times I had to turn this around. I'm like, it's kind of you, dude. Like, it's kind of you. You're not doing the things you need to do. And let's have a meeting and I'll tell you what you need to do. We all know, like, there is no secret magic trick. So if I tell you have to visit 20 open houses a month and you're not willing to do that, then you suck. Not me, not the team, because there's only two reasons that things fail and businesses fail: not enough leads and poor conversion. So we have to solve for one of those two, right? And of course, there's manufacturing involved. That's a third thing. I mean, but
loans get a little bit complex for sure.
Yeah, but almost nobody fails.
Different.
Almost nobody fails in business for poor manufacturing. Like, that's, I want to say that our peers in the mortgage industry are all pretty damn good at manufacturing loans, at least agency loans. So I would say that manufacturing is less important than the weight we put on it. Now, listen, you still got to close, and you got to close on time. And if you're with a team that can't close on time ever, that's a problem. You're at the wrong team. If you have a team that closes late once out of every 50, 60, 70, 100 loans, then that's maybe acceptable. It happens. And then you have to figure out why and make sure that it doesn't happen again. Was it internal? Was it external? Was it because the balconies were messed up on a condo? That's outside of our control. The way I like to see it is I take ownership of the borrower. When I write a pre-approval letter, I pre-approve the borrower, not the complex, not the collateral. So when I have collateral issues, that can cause delays, but we should never have a borrower cause delay. We're way off track on this right now. So let's get back to day one or one day.
I know I'm coming back to it. So I was just going to reel you back in, but so to reel us back in, we're talking about step 16, day 16, or in that case, that's actually not even day 16. That's like day 4. That's what I mean. So, like, I think that everything you just said is stopping people from doing day one. like, hey, we're trying to encourage people, Gino.
Well, I'm being real, because that's what you're going to face. You're going to face adversity. You're going to face challenges. You're going to face headwinds. But if you want to make it if you want to stay where you're at, then don't do shit. Right. It's if you want to make progress, then you have to have change, and that change is painful, and that change is learning, and that change is difficult. So, I don't want to sugarcoat it, because if I sugarcoat it, then you go to try it and you're going to fail, and you're going to say Gino's a liar.
Well, but truly though, you are going to fail though. Is the truth. You are going to fail in lots of many ways, but don't choose failure by not starting. And the thing is that I think who says this? I feel like it's a Rene Rodriguez quote, but I'm sure he got it from somebody. It's sometimes you have to jump off the cliff and grow wings on the way down to save yourself from falling. And the thing is when you're starting a team, you're not going to know all the answers. You're not going to know what's going to happen on day 134 when maybe they quit because they get a better offer somewhere, or maybe there's HR issues, or maybe there's business issues. I can't afford this anymore. There's a million problems and a million reasons why it won't work, and only one way it will. But you have to jump off the cliff and have faith that you're going to grow the muscles, you're going to grow the wings, you're going to save yourself from disaster.
No one's ever good at anything the first time they try it, Jimmy.
Right.
No one ever.
Especially leadership.
And it's hard because the first person you have to lead is yourself.
Yeah. And self-discipline's a son of a bitch. It's the worst.
How could you be a good leader to somebody else if you don't have the discipline yourself? If
100%.
you've never done it yourself. That's why sometimes people have a disconnect with regional managers and things of that nature, is when they say, you don't know what it's like. Okay. Well, so because I originated for 20 some years, and I'm still right next to the originations today, I'm one step removed. I know how hard it is, and I never ever take it for granted how hard it is to, walk away from your kid's baseball game to answer that call from a client that needs an urgent pre-approval, and you're trying to do as much as you can on your phone, and to do the projects at 3:00 in the morning that you couldn't get done during the day because the phone rang all day, to prepare for the open houses on the weekend on a Friday night instead of watching the Dodger game. Like, you have to make sacrifices if you want to make progress. Simple. You have to make sacrifices. None of it will come for free. None of it will come easily. What are you willing to sacrifice to get what you want because it's important to you?
Positive spin us, Gino. Make this encouraging.
The positive spin is you can do anything you want. You can achieve anything you want. I know people say that all the time. Here's how I do it for myself. As I'm driving through, and I'm a real estate investor, right? That's first and foremost, before I ever got into the mortgage industry, I'm a real estate investor. So my dreams are about owning, 100-unit apartment buildings. My dreams are about having 100 Airbnbs. Those are the types of things that go through my head every day. And I always ask myself, and I teach my kids, if any other human has done it, why not you? Why not you? What makes them different than you? Absolutely nothing, right? Okay, maybe so we're slightly genetically different, but realistically speaking, we're all pretty much the same. And so ultimately it comes down to how strong are your convictions in the things that you want to achieve, and are you willing to take risks or not? So I am a totally risk averse person. I'll do whatever. So, but if you're not that person, some people, Jimmy, really don't want to take the risk. And those people are better served on teams instead of being leaders of teams.
Right.
They could be an instrumental part of a great team instead of being the leader of that team if they don't feel comfortable doing that. They could still dream about it. They could take the leap. That's how people get into that. I didn't really have a choice. I was thrust into that when I was 13 years old, so I don't know any different.
You're right. I think that's actually a wise thing to say, is that sometimes you have to look in the mirror and ask yourself, are you brave enough to look like a fool, or do you want to just join a team that already is there? And where hey, I'm a leader in my own right, but not when it comes to leading an organization of people and hiring and firing, and maybe that's just not your thing. But also, gosh, you're not going to know unless you try, So I think it's something where you have to honestly look in the mirror and say that. But I would say staying stagnant is not acceptable. It needs to be something where you hate the likelihood of staying the same and having the same results more than the risk of looking like a fool, or the risk of not being the number one dude and having to join a team and just not being the person with all of the recognition. And choosing happiness, I think that's the choice.
I also look at things this way. Would I regret not trying if I was on my deathbed next week?
Right. Yeah.
That's for me, that's a big driver. Would I regret not trying? Because I don't think you regret failing. I think you regret not trying.
I'm with you.
I totally feel
same.
like I've failed at so many things in life, and I look back on them with appreciation and gratitude for those failures. And I fail every single day, right? I'm in a position where I probably make 50, 60, 100 decisions a day. Not all of them are right.
Right.
God knows I make mistakes. Just ask my team or my wife. I make mistakes. I do. I'm human. I'm just like you. I make mistakes, but I make less mistakes because I'm very experienced, because I make a lot of decisions every day. And so again, that's the other thing. That's the jump rope. Usain Bolt, I practiced 4 years for 9 seconds. You'll never understand.
Yeah.
And so that's been actually really, really something important to me lately. And it's very relevant to day one versus one day, is how much practice are you willing to put in? I told many, many, many times, I've told my team of loan officers, I'm not smarter than you. I just read it all. I read every email. I read every Fannie Mae guideline update. I read every Freddie Mac, FHA, VA guideline update, every non-QM update, every email that comes in saying this changed, that changed, LTV changed, matrix changed. I read all of it. When you skip over it, that's the difference. That's the difference. I'm not smarter. I just read it all. I'm jumping rope every day. I'm jumping rope. When sometimes I send the emails and then somebody will say, oh, no, how come we didn't know that? I'm like, because you didn't read. Because I read the email that came through, and then I cleaned it up and made it a 1-sentence email for you, and I sent it out so that you could read the 1 sentence instead of the 32 pages. That's my job. And that's why. It's because you didn't read. It's because you weren't willing to practice. You weren't willing to do the homework. You weren't willing to do the reps. You got to do the reps.
You got it. Yeah, absolutely. You don't just do day one every day. Don't do day one every single day.
No. And so maybe you can measure it in the same way that I measure workouts. Once a week, bare minimum. Pretty unfortunate, actually. Not even maintenance. That's just staying alive. Twice a week is maintenance. I found if you work out twice a week, you'll probably stay right where you are. That's pretty good. It's some level of activity that probably won't give you astronomical results, but you'll see some health-based benefits. And then if you want to see change, you need to do 3 days a week. And if you want to see dramatic change, you need to do 4 days a week. And if you want to see really dramatic change and then you want to shorten the timeline, now you got to do 4 days a week plus great diet plus great supplementation. So that's talk about day one. Day one should be simple. It should be one simple task. Day two, habit stack, add more to it. I'm 2 years into this health and wellness journey, and I'm continuously adjusting and adapting and making changes because I want to get 0.01 better every day. So when you get up in the morning and you're trying to go from day 1 to day 72, just how can I get 0.01 better today? Just go towards improvement. Go towards the finish line. You don't have to be at the finish line. You just have to go towards the finish line.
Love it. All right, brother. This has been great. One day or day one? And you know what? Who said it? I feel like it's The Rock, because have you ever watched The Rock one, where The Rock is just saying it like over and over and over and over
It's
and
so
over
hard
again?
to remember who said what now that everybody recycles everything.
I remember it from The Rock in like an Instagram reel or something, and he's
The
just
point
like,
is, it doesn't matter where you have it, but it is impactful.
right, absolutely. Don't be afraid. Have some bravery. Don't be afraid to fail. Make it your day one. Let's go. Rocket emoji.
Yeah, and then I tell myself, we'll leave you all with this, but I tell myself, if any other human's done it, I can do it. And then if you want to be bolder than that, you can be like Elon Musk or Thomas Edison or all of those geniuses that have taken the greater risk to do what no human has ever done before. And that's progress.
100%.
That's change. That's humanity. That's what drives us. So you don't have to be Elon Musk or Thomas Edison or a great leader of that caliber, but lead yourself, lead your family, lead your friends, lead the people in your life that you care about, and you'll be in a good place.
All right, I want to thank everybody for joining us. This has been Next Gen Leadership Live, brought to you by Momentum Builder. And thank you, Gino. You're the bomb. Love you, man.
All right. Hope everybody went out and voted today. If not, you still have time. It's early.
Go and vote, and we'll see you next week.